Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the leaked cosmetics from the latest Battlefield Labs build. There are also some things in the build that I do find slightly concerning. I'm not sure if this is going to be final, but I did just want to voice my opinions on those. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Battlefield 2042 at the moment, how that game is doing. It's on sale, so if you guys have been thinking about picking it up, it might be a good time to do so. As always, if you guys enjoy the content here on the channel or you find it useful, I'll be covering everything on Battlefield 6 going into the future, and a subscription is really appreciated. So thank you guys so much for the support. So full disclosure here guys, I'm not going to be able to show you the exact video because this was posted from the Chinese latest Battlefield Labs build, and Battlefield Labs, whilst I'm in it, it's still under NDA. You're not allowed to post footage of it, so not only would I get kicked out, but my YouTube video would also be removed, and you guys wouldn't be here watching it right now. So what I've done is I've linked it down below on Reddit. If you want to check it out there and get your first-hand impressions of it, then feel free to do so. I'm not sure how long it's going to be up on Reddit, but it is at the moment. But basically, it's somebody over on the Chinese client who posted this on Bilibili, and they managed to gain access to the client, and they're going through all of the different options for all the different classes, and it seems this time around, DICE have added cosmetics to the latest build. And I know that cosmetics is one of those things that is obviously under a lot of scrutiny from the community. We've just seen Black Ops 7 announced, and well, if you wouldn't have told me it was a Call of Duty game, I would have assumed that these cosmetics here were from, I don't know, like BioShock or some weird game like that. So to find out it's from Call of Duty is, I guess it should be a shock, but it's not like a huge shock. That's kind of the direction they're going these days with stuff. But luckily, I can tell you guys that Battlefield 6 appears to have very grounded, authentic, and realistic camos. And the way they're doing this is there are actually different sub-factions in the game. So as you'll know, we have the two factions, NATO and then Pax Armata. But then within each of those factions, there are several sub-factions that you can choose from, and within those, several different cosmetics. Now, of course, these aren't all of the launch cosmetics for the game, so these aren't the ones you're going to be purchasing in the store. We have no idea how DICE and EA are really going to try to, I suppose, entice us to purchase those without making them too zany or wacky. But at least I can report on the ones right here look pretty normal. Now, this was posted by Temporal actually a few months ago, and here are some of the sub-factions. So for NATO, we have the United Albion, we've got the Coyote Squad, and then the Desert Locusts. And the Desert Locusts, they sort of have, as you would imagine, a much more sandy, yellow-covered cosmetics. So, you know, those are probably going to make a lot of sense on those certain maps, maybe like the ones in Cairo. And then over on the Pax Armada side, we have Espada, we've got Fireteam Yaga, and we have the Kahina unit. If you guys want to pause this and read the descriptions, then feel free, but I've, you know, gone over this stuff in previous videos before, so I don't want to bore you guys too much. So in the beta build that we all played, we were actually playing as the Coyote Squad for NATO, and then for Pax Armada, we were playing as the Espada Patrol, they're called. And these are just each, you know, one of two different looks for the soldiers. You can then go into that specific look and change the colors of your camos, you can change your badges and everything, or you can go to a completely different sub-faction and, you know, change how your character looks. I was a little bit worried that we were going to sort of see like named characters here, almost sort of like specialists, or maybe some of the stuff we've seen from Battlefield 1 and 5, but I'm happy to report it doesn't seem like that is going to be the case, or at least it's not going to be a big focus here. Now, you may be wondering, with these different soldiers and the different camos, how are we going to identify, you know, especially with all the different sub-factions, between who's playing NATO and who is playing Pax? Well, I think because these different sub-factions belong to NATO, or they belong specifically to Pax, you will just sort of get used to seeing a specific sub-faction and thinking, okay, I know that this sub-faction belongs to that faction, and that's the enemy, or it's a friendly. I think they've also gone a long way in trying to add certain identifiers to each of the classes. So, you know, with the engineer, you've got the launcher on the back there. With the recon class, a lot of them have the ghillie suit on, etc. So there are certain visual identifiers, and I think it's something that's going to take us a little bit of time to actually get used to, because I have to say, when I played the beta, I didn't have the easiest time right off the bat identifying, you know, first of all, which faction I was playing with or against, but then also, like, what class am I playing against? Is that an assault player? Is it a support player? Is it an engineer? I just didn't really know. I was more concentrating, to be honest, on the spotting mechanism in the game, as the auto spotting was so powerful. Now, you can also equip badges on the chest or the arm of your soldier here. There are only like a couple in the labs build at the moment, so there's not really a massive amount of choice, but it does show that there is some extended customization there that's available. And then he also went through all of the vehicle customization, and as you would expect, like, we've got some pretty basic skins here. Again, it's just a labs test, so this is for like testing purposes. This is not to give us, you know, some of the coolest skins in the game. You can also apply decals to your tank, pretty much like what you would expect to see from vehicle customization, so nothing like really groundbreaking. Unfortunately, he didn't go through all of the actual vehicle loadouts, which is a major bummer. I could see them there, but he just didn't click in them, so kind of frustrating. Obviously, everything here is also in Chinese, so if you were to freeze frame each and every slide from the video, you could translate all of the Chinese into English and see what everything said, but that would take far too long a time. There are, of course, icons and everything that you can sort of read a bit into, but if you guys want to do that yourselves, then obviously feel free. Now, they also do go through all of the weapons that are available in this build, and again, you would have to sort of pause the video and translate it, or at least look at the icons of the weapons to figure out which ones they were. But here is a bit of a slide from Temporal that he data mined from June 2025, so this is like a couple of months old here. And also bear in mind that not all of these weapons are in the labs build here, only some of them, and all these weapons will definitely not be coming to the game on launch. I suspect some of these will be coming to the game with the later seasons, and others may not make it into the game at all, but this gives you a bit of an indication of just what they're going for here. Now, moving on to something that is a little bit concerning for me, and that is the double launcher still remaining on the engineer. So he does go through all of the gadgets for all of the classes here, along with the cosmetics. And one of the things I noticed is that dual launcher of the Stinger and then a ground launcher, such as an RPG like we saw in the beta, is still available. Now, I was under the assumption, because DICE have actually told us in a blog post that they were removing double launcher for engineer after a lot of negative feedback around it, that they will be doing that, and we will be seeing that coming in the next labs build. We know that the beta build was a lot older than the labs build, and so I just assumed they simply couldn't get this change in there in time, just like a lot of other things in that build. But this time around, now we're seeing a new build for labs, and double launcher is still in there. And the way it's working is that you can only take one of the main ground launchers, so you can take either the SMOR, essentially, or the RPG, or the Javelin. Once you've taken those three, if you go over to your second gadget slot, the others will be blocked out there. But you can still take the Stinger, and you can take the MBT Law. Now, part of me says, okay, maybe we should just give DICE the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe they simply haven't got the change in this particular build. But I can tell you guys that the deploy beacon, previously the spawn beacon for the recon class, has been shifted over to the assault class in this build. So if they've made that change, then that leaves me with the question saying, why haven't they made the change to the engineer? And assuming they're not going to make that change, I really just have to say again that having engineers with both Stingers and a ground launcher is going to be unbelievably broken. On a map like Liberation Peak, and bear in mind that was the only one we had to test out, the only one that had jets and the only one that had helicopters, one of each, it was just completely unflyable most of the time because every engineer on the enemy team had a Stinger available, and if you can take both, that really just removes the freedom of choice there. Like, why would you pick anything else if you can take something anti-air and something anti-ground? That was really what the engineer class was about before. Do you want to conquer the air, or do you want to conquer the ground? And I feel like if they leave this in the game, that choice has simply been removed. So again, take this with a grain of salt. It is just from a labs build. This doesn't mean that this is going to make it into the full release of the game on October 10th. I really feel like if they get enough feedback that people don't want this in the game, and to be honest, I haven't seen anybody saying like, oh, I really want double launchers. I think it's a great idea. Like, I think if they remove this from the game, there would not be a single person, you know, complaining about it and saying, oh, bring back the double launchers. Like, nobody even asked for it to begin with. So I don't really know why they have it in there. But to me, it's just massively game-breaking, and it just turns the overall balance of infantry versus vehicles on its head. Anyway, I just really hope that they rethink this. I really hope that they are, you know, maybe just testing something out. I don't know why they're testing it, because they've seen the feedback. Double launchers is just completely overpowered. It just doesn't work. Especially not if you're going to give each engineer like 5 Stingers and 5 RPGs. It just really is kind of nuts. And to me, honestly, it just kind of feels like pandering to a casual community, newer people who are coming into the game, maybe from Call of Duty and whatnot. I'm not trying to say we should gatekeep the game. You know, I welcome every new player, but at the same time, I don't want to see them dilute the Battlefield formula for the sake of those players, right? They just need to literally like get good, learn how to play the game as we have, and I think they'll be a lot happier for it as well. Just as a little tidbit here on the end of the video, I wanted to let you guys know that Battlefield 2042 is currently on sale. I think it's like $3. It's basically like the price of a cup of coffee, maybe not even that. Obviously, it depends on the country you live in and your regional equivalent, and maybe how much $3 is worth to you in your country. But at least for me, it's pretty much a steal. So if you're somebody who's been wanting to jump into the free event pass and unlock some of those cosmetics for BF6, then I guess you could do that if you don't own the game. Player numbers have been really skyrocketing for Battlefield 2042 over the past couple of days, which was definitely a big surprise to me. Most people replied to me on Twitter here and said, oh, it's just because they want to unlock the Battlefield 6 cosmetics. But I'm like, is it really though? Like, personally, I don't really give a crap about a few measly cosmetics for Battlefield 6 that probably aren't even going to be like that amazing looking. You know, the best looking ones are going to be kept behind a paywall in the in-game store regardless. So I just really don't buy into that all of these players are just like forcing themselves to play this game that they apparently hate just to unlock like a few cosmetics, because you're talking many hours of playing to unlock through that. I personally don't buy that. Let me know below though, guys, like, what do you think about this? Are you playing and sort of putting yourself through the hardships of experiencing Battlefield 2042 just for the cosmetics? Or are you more just sort of looking for a Battlefield game to play to tide you over until Battlefield 6? Let me know what you think about the dual launches for the engineers. Let me know what you think about the cosmetics. As always, leaving a like on the video is massively appreciated. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Battlefield, and I will see you guys in the next one.